Yep.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Valley of the Judged. I am your one and only gaming monk, better known as Mildra, and with me I have my good brother here in the temple, the man of 1,000 runes, the CEO of Zadare Enterprises, and the bane of my fucking existence, good brother Xanatrix.
Zadari Enterprises would like to remind you that, we're not in the path of the storm, so everybody who was worried about us, we're safe.
Now, I'm in Tornado Alley, but I don't get hit all that often, and
Calling Minnesota part of Tornado Alley is kind of stretching there, Monk.
I mean, there have been touchdowns in areas I've been in, but I just happen to miss them every single time because I may be crazy, but I'm not the level of crazy that storm chasers are. Doing that profession requires a level of insanity that I have to respect.
Mm-hmm.
And I see Pumafist in the channel asking, what's this channel about? A lot of things, but showcasing what's out there. So it's been a couple of weeks since we delved into the wonderful world of Flux fantasy.
Yes.
Last time we tackled character creation, specifically focusing on the different power sets in Karmistry, which we definitely liked, but our enjoyment has the asterisk of we may change that opinion based on how the advanced powers work when we see them.
Yep.
We will not be covering the advanced powers in this particular series, simply because, well, there's been no update, and I don't feel like playing catch up if one shows up in a week or so.
Also, Monk, I just do want to point out that the Twitch title still says Reynatus.
God damn it, I know I fixed that. This is not a fuck up on my part. This is a fuck up on Twitch's part for failing to update.
Yeah, I know. I just had to laugh because, well, I was like, Reynatus. I don't think we're doing Reynatus.
No, it's not. No, it's not Tuesday yet.
Well, Tuesday you won't be doing Reynatus until after we're done with something else.
Yes.
But that's a surprise.
Mm-mm.
Anyway, yeah. Today is the day that we go into the part of how to play that deals with combat.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've done most of how to play as part of the introduction episode. But now it's a bit of a focus.
Yes. And there will be some things outside of combat, like Flux Destinies, which we'll get into later on tonight. Because if we just did combat alone, this would be a very short episode.
Yep. And there's a section in Flux Destinies that talks about why Flux Destinies matter. So that's going to be important.
Mm-hmm. So, we open up combat with Clash of Titans entering combat. And all I have to say is I really, really hope to God there isn't some big MacGuffin that just ends up being a mechanical bird. No, I will not let that go.
That's a deep cut. That is a deep cut.
Hey, at least we can see this without having to share an eye.
Monk, they're not going to get it. You're confusing the audience.
Skill issue.
They're going to hurt themselves in their confusion.
If you're calling your opening part for combat Clash of Titans,
I know.
Then you get exactly what you've got coming.
Yep, I'm aware.
But since I've done a good amount of talking on that, I will let you handle the opening part.
All right, here we go. In Flux Fantasy, combat is where you face down foes who are out to get you. But it's not just about trading blows. It's about strategy, quick thinking, and using every skill at your disposal. Let's jump into the essentials of combat, from initiative to the various actions that will keep you alive and kicking when the fight starts. And I really like here the little side box sketch that says "Get creative in battle." Karmistry, Karma Tech, and even good old-fashioned fistfights can make combat exciting. I feel like he's personally attacking us there. But we get to the combat basics: initiative, turns, and actions. Combat in Flux Fantasy is a thrilling mix of strategy, skill, and the wild forces of Karmistry. Each encounter is a test of how fast you can think, how smart you can act, and how well you can adapt to the chaos of battle. I'm in my element as Chaos Incarnate. Here's a rundown of the key elements: initiative, turns, and actions, setting the stage for some epic showdowns. Starting with initiative, when combat kicks off, players roll for initiative to see who acts first. Grab a d20 and add your character's plus function modifier. The higher your total, the sooner you get to make your move. Initiative order stays the same throughout the fight, so quick thinking and planning from the get-go are crucial, so it's a single initiative roll. That's nice. Turns, the pulse of battle. Once initiative is set, combat rolls out in rounds, each player taking their turn in the established order. A round is just a few heart-pounding seconds of real-time action, where every decision counts and can turn the tide of battle. During your turn, you've got 3 main moves to play with. You've got your main action, your big move. This could be swinging a weapon, unleashing a Karmistry ability, or anything else that shakes up the fight. Need to spot an enemy's weakness? Use your main action to perceive your target and gain the upper hand. You've got your movement action. Get in, get out, or get tactical. Each character has a movement speed that tells you how far you can move during your turn. Use this to charge at enemies, dodge out of harm's way, reposition for a strategic advantage, or even interact with the environment. And then the quick action. The cherry on top. Quick actions are minor but mighty moves that add flair to your main and movement actions. Shout a command, use an item, draw your weapon, or activate a gadget. These little actions can have a big impact and keep the battle exciting. That moves on to main actions for you there, Monk.
And before we get to main actions, I do want to remind people that Ink Fighters, unlike everybody else, can give up their movement action to do another attack, which is considered a main action, and we will get to that. So that makes this particular action economy all the more crucial for them.
Yes.
But first we have main action. And the first one is attack. In Flux Fantasy, your best defense is often a good offense. You'll face off against enemies that want to take you down and drain your HP. Sometimes the only way to survive is to strike first and strike hard. Strike fast, strike hard, no mercy.
Yep.
Remember, folks, sweep the leg.
Sweep the leg!
Then we have the roll to hit. Combat starts with a roll to see if your attack lands. The attacker rolls with a d20 plus willpower modifier, and the defender rolls their d20, adding their defensive modifier found in the talent gear. The higher roll wins. If the attacker wins, they execute their attack. If the defender wins, they dodge and the round continues. If your karma-powered attack misses, your karma pool stays untouched. That's nice. I like.
That's nice. You don't use KP if you miss with a karma attack.
It also gives an incentive to not be as ultra-conservative with karma points. You're going to be some level of conservative because you don't want to trigger backlash. But you're not having to deal with the rainy day paradox, as it were. Yeah. Or just waiting to do alpha strikes.
Yeah. You don't want to you don't want to necessarily do too much karma stuff because of course too much karma you get payback, and payback can be painful. Mm-hmm. But the fact that your KP is untouched if you miss a karma powered attack is really nice.
So then we have attacks. The damage you deal depends upon the attack you chose. Your attacks will be unique to your specialty and study. Check the power section for the full breakdown. Here are the types of attacks you can unleash, and we've covered these to a point. Attack, signature move, combo attack, performed with another player the same power level and tier, and Karma Surge. And a sidebar saying, most players won't have enough karma to use the Karma Surge attack until they level up more. These unrefined attacks are often less effective than other learned abilities. I don't think we covered Karma Surge last time.
We didn't cover it in detail because Karma Surge was kind of a I guess the best way to put it is, well, if it'll show me more than one karma surge. It's being done. Hold on. Karma surge isn't really covered in a huge amount of areas. There's its own. It has its own section on the next page that we'll get into details later.
Yeah. So then we have combo attack. Ready to unleash some serious mayhem with your buddies? Combo attacks let you and a teammate team up to smack down your enemies with epic force. Here's how to get your combo game on. Twice the power, twice the fun. Combos can be used twice per combat. It's up to you to keep track of how many combos you performed. Team it with another player within 4 squares who's down to partner up and combine your forces. I like that it's 4 squares away instead of like 5 feet away, because games that would have team up abilities but required you to be that close in a grid combat where spreading out is a better idea always bug the hell out of me. Like, say, cover abilities in some more litigious incarnations where you had to be adjacent to whoever you were covering.
Yeah. A bit inefficient that way.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I know some will say that that's realistic, but the problem is the way encounters are set up are built around spread formations.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, I guess I could liken it to how the whole sprint thing I've talked about when it came to reach. Like, I know it seems silly to bitch about sprint, but when you're giving 2 movement speeds in a map that was not designed for them, stupidity ensues. Then we get to here's how it works. To pull off a combo, both you and your partner need to be at the same power level and tier. Both of you roll to hit, and if your combined roll beats the enemy's defense, you unleash a devastating combo attack. The damage from both players' attacks stacks up for some serious hurt. Then we have the Initiator. As the Initiator, you'll use the normal amount of karma required for the attack, while your partner uses half. You'll lead the attack and coordinate how your partner should use their combo powers. Then we have the Partner. The partner uses half the karma required and takes only half the payback. This way, you both share the load and the risk, making the combo even more strategic. Then back to positions. After you've rocked the enemy with your combo, everyone returns to their starting positions. Ready to unleash the next big move? Plan wisely and keep those combos rolling. And then we get to Karma Surge, and I will let you take that.
Yep. A Karma Surge is a raw blast of karma energy. Every specialty can do this, but it's a hefty move. Escape artists and Clockbox channel energy from their Taurus, special agents from their tech, and ink fighters from their sigils. These surges are powerful, but come with a high karma cost and an immediate payback roll. So, using it means you're going to have payback occur.
Mm-hmm.
Has a cost of 30 KP, a range of 0 to 6, and a damage of 20. And the same tip from before is repeated here, which is pretty nice. Just to remind you that Karma Surges are not really something you'll use as a low-level character, and even at higher levels may not be the most useful thing. Then you have defense actions. Sometimes playing it safe is the smartest move. Instead of attacking, you can bolster your defenses or protect an ally. Using Karma for defense boosts your defense modifier for the next attack. If you're not attacked, the boost lasts until you are, or the combat ends. Note, defense actions don't stack. I like that it doesn't stack, but that it also lasts until you take an attack.
Mm-hmm.
We have a small example here. You're low on HP and need to play it safe. Your basic Karma defense is +4, and your base defense modifier is +2. So the next time you're attacked, your total defense modifier is +6. This up your chances of dodging the next hit.
But because of the fact that they don't stack, it discourages turtling.
Yes. You can, and like I said, you can throw on defense action, and then the boost lasts as long until you're attacked or the combat ends.
Mm-hmm.
And That way you can do other things, and it'll kind of just stay there until needed.
And you can defensively move, which is
Yes.
another big thing.
Yeah. Now, some of the mechanics for defense actions: no roll to hit is needed. You can defend yourself or an ally within 2 squares. And defending an ally means they get your basic karma defense modifier. And then, as you level up, you'll unlock more advanced defensive actions, most of which require karma.
Mm-hmm. Also, I do enjoy the energy shield depiction we have with karma tech.
Yeah.
I feel like that is something that Backdraft would end up using.
I could see him using it.
He would just add a ladder to it because firefighter. And then we have more main actions. Flex your options. So you have perceiving target. Got an enemy that's giving you trouble? Use your turn to size them up and uncover their secrets. A successful perception roll reveals your enemy's HP, defense modifier, and any hidden weaknesses or resistances. Roll a d20 and add your technique modifier. If you beat the enemy's perception threshold, you've got the intel you need to shift the balance in your favor. And movement action, move like a pro. There are 2 types of movement actions in Flux Fantasy: basic movement and locomotion. Basic movement, this is your standard get around the map move. It's all about your movement modifier. If you've got a movement of 2, you can move 2 squares across the battle map. Simple, right? And locomotion, now if you want to get fancy, you use locomotion. This isn't just moving, it's moving with style, powered by your karma pool. Locomotion requires using karma to give you that extra boost. Check out the power section of this book to see how far your karma can take you. We've already covered that. Some karma studies will have more movement than others.
Some karma studies will have more of some things than others. They're all different.
Mm-hmm. And then we have quick action. Fast moves, big impact. Quick actions are all about those slick, creative moves that you can pull off in a flash. These actions are quick, but they can make a big difference in the heat of battle. Here are some examples to get your gears turning, and remember, this list is just the beginning. So we've got using items. When the heat of battle is on, sometimes it's the gear in your inventory that saves the day. Whether you're chugging an HP serum, whipping out a high-tech gadget, or activating special equipment. Your items are there to give you that edge. Just remember, you can only use 1 item per turn, so make it count. And we have switch power. No rolls needed. Just swap out 1 learned power for another in your arsenal. Interesting, because when we looked at the powers, it gave the impression that you have that particular package, but I'm guessing once advanced powers comes in, you're going to be doing swapping about.
Possibly. That's something that'll probably get more detail in the full game.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, we need to remind everybody this is a beta.
Yep. And push or shove, get that enemy out of the way. Players must make a stamina roll against the GM's threshold. The result, push someone back 1 square from where they started. Although I have to ask this question because of our time with Emberwind. But what
wall
happens
banging?
if you push and they can't move? I.e., wall banging.
A clarification for if someone encounters an obstacle when you push them in some fashion, because I'm guessing that some of the karma powers are going to be able to push people and reposition them too.
Mm-hmm.
People going to take collision damage or not? That's what we're asking.
Yeah.
Because collision damage can be fun.
Mm-hmm. See, then we have trip. Take him down a notch, literally. Players must pass an agility roll determined by the GM's threshold. Result, the enemy is unable to use movement their next turn. See, then we have jumping. Leap over obstacles like a pro. Hide. Disappear into the shadows. If hiding well enough, an enemy may be unable to attack you on their next turn. Duck. Avoid that incoming attack. Players must pass an agility roll determined by the GM's threshold. The result, players might gain +1 defense for their next turn. What's this about might?
If you don't pass the roll, you don't get the +1.
Other quick actions must be talked through with the GM before implementing.
Fun.
And then we get to switching power. And I'll let you take this because I kind of did a bit of
It extended into the next page, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it to the end of the combat section then.
Mm-hmm.
Switching power is a key quick action. You've got a ton of learned powers, but only one can be slotted into each category of your power profile at a time. Use a quick action to swap out powers on the fly. For example, if you're using creative manipulation for your basic attack but decide you want to throw a punch instead, you'll need to use your quick action to make the switch before landing that punch on your enemy. Oh, okay, I get it. There might be this power switching. You're going to want to go into a little more detail about, especially in the powers section.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Other quick actions. Quick actions like jumping or hiding often require a basic action roll. These can be game changers, but come with their own risks. For instance, if you want to push another player out of the way of a rampaging payback monster, you might need to pass a stamina check with a roll of 14 or higher. If you fail, you could end up in even hotter water. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then critical hits with and exploiting weakness. Strike with precision. When luck is on your side and you roll a natural 20 on a d20 during a roll to hit, you've landed a critical hit. No modifiers needed, just a pure, unfiltered 20. If your enemy doesn't also roll a natural 20, you get to execute that critical hit, doubling the damage. It's a game changer, turning the tide in your favor with a single roll. I'm guessing that in this case, doubling the damage is just doubling whatever the resulting damage is and not doubling the dice you would roll for it.
Mm-hmm.
Critical failure. Beware, the dice can be a fickle friend. The dice gods show no mercy. Amen.
Amen.
Yep. Roll a natural 1 and you've hit a critical failure. Your attack misses spectacularly and you take 2 damage as a penalty. It's a harsh reminder that in the world of Flux Fantasy, the stakes are always high. Until I know more about HP pools, I don't know whether that's a reasonable penalty or not.
Mm-hmm.
I know the HP pools didn't seem too big, but that may end up being an unfun thing. Just keep that in mind.
Yep.
Then we have weakness. Every enemy has a potential Achilles heel, a weakness you can exploit for extra damage or an advantage in combat. To uncover these vulnerabilities, use your main action to perceive the target. Once revealed, you can exploit those weaknesses with specific main actions or powers, dealing extra damage or gaining an upper hand. Enemy cards will list all weakness effects, so keep an eye out and strike when it counts. Then we have cooldown and recovery, the art of tactical retreat. Sometimes the best move in the heat of battle is to take a step back, catch your breath, and prepare for the next strike. In Flux Fantasy, you can forfeit your entire turn to perform a cooldown or recovery main action. These maneuvers are crucial for managing your karma pool and keeping the payback levels in check. Cooldown. Cooldowns are your go-to for reducing that pesky payback. To initiate a cooldown, forfeit your turn and roll a d20 plus your willpower modifier. The result equals the number of payback points you get to shave off. It's a strategic breather that can save your skin in the long run. Then we have recovery. When your karma pool's running on fumes, it's time for a recovery. Forfeit your turn, roll d20 plus your technique modifier, and replenish your karma pool by the rolled amount. Note that this doesn't touch your payback levels. It's strictly for karma pool recovery. And for ink fighters, don't forget to use one of those handy syringes to get your karma back in shape. Then we have rules for cooldown and recovery. Cooldowns outside of combat are limited to twice per checkpoint unless stated otherwise. Items can be used any time for cooldowns, but you're limited to 1 item per combat turn. Payback can only be reduced to 0 payback points, not a point lower. Recovery is capped by your current karma pool limit, no overflowing the tank. Strategically forfeiting a turn for cooldown or recovery can mean the difference between victory and defeat. Use these actions wisely and you'll find yourself ready to face whatever the Flux Destiny universe throws your way.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
But then we have Destiny saves. Sometimes fate intervenes. When a player's HP hits 0, they're standing on the edge, staring into the abyss. To claw their way back from the brink of death, they must pass a Destiny save roll. This roll is a d20 plus their function modifier, representing their sheer will to survive. So at level 1 it's a 5, at level 2 it's a 7, level 3 it's a 10, level 4 it's a 13, level 5 plus it's a 16. If a player faces more than 3 Destiny saves, then on the 4th instance of dropping to 0, they meet their end. No more rolls, no more chances, death is final in this universe, no exceptions. Destiny saves don't apply to enemies unless specifically stated in the core rulebook. Once an enemy is down, they're out for good. If a Destiny save is successful, the player returns to the fray with 3 hit points and continues the adventure. Then, resetting Destiny saves. Players get a fresh slate on their Destiny saves when they hit a checkpoint.
That's good. That's actually really good. If it were 3 total in your entire... Because we ran into something like this before. I forget the game, where once you were revived once, you couldn't be revived again for the entirety of that character's career.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, that's not fun. This at least gives you 3 chances to save yourself from death per checkpoint, and that's good.
I know some people romanticize early editions of certain litigious games about how where you didn't get the multiple death saves or something like that, and I'm like, are you really that insecure that you've got to prove your manliness by how easy it is for TPKs to happen in your games? If you're doing your job, a TPK should not be happening.
Well, if you're doing your job, a TPK shouldn't happen normally. But if the dice gods truly show no mercy, TPKs can happen anywhere, even in the most perfect of circumstances.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, I've never gotten this idea of it being something to boast about.
Oh yeah, no. You don't need to boast about causing a TPK. A TPK is a TPK. It happens.
But then again,
the only time I've boasted about... Oh, go ahead.
Then again, I've called Tomb of Horrors the most overrated module.
Yeah. The TPK. The only time you should gloat about TPKs is when the party who received the TPK honestly fucking deserved it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna name any names.
That is a case of no simpy. And in that case, I have no simpy.
Exactly.
But then we get to Flux Destinies in gameplay and narrative. And since the early one was pretty light, I'll take this one. First dimension, dreaming, building your own realities. Flux Destinies are what set Flux Fantasy apart from any other RPG out there. They let you craft your own pocket dimensions where imagination is king, whether you're creating tiny handheld worlds or sprawling environments as vast as cities. Flux Destinies are your canvas, painted with the brush of karmistry. No matter how detailed and immersive a Flux Destiny might be, there's always that hint of something off. Even the most masterful escape artists can't replicate the full-on reality of our world. But that's part of their charm. Think of them as magical snow globes or pop-up books come to life. In this section, we'll dive deep into the nuts and bolts of Flux Destinies. You'll learn about canvases and fishbowls, the fundamental tools for creation, and get into the specifics of building, managing, and integrating these pocket dimensions into your gameplay. Whether you're a newbie or a seasoned player looking to level up your skills, this book will help you master the exciting and sometimes risky world of Flux Destinies. And for escape artists only, Mastering Flux Destinies. Before we dive into the nitty-gritty of Flux Destiny creation, let's get one thing straight. This power is exclusive to escape artists. If you're an escape artist, you're in for a wild ride of creativity and karmistry. For those playing as clockbots, you're the trusty sidekicks that make these fantastical creations possible, providing essential support and stability. And escape artists, the architects of imagination. As an escape artist, your unique ability to create Flux Destinies sets you apart. This power isn't about wielding incredible abilities, it's about constructing entire worlds, manipulating reality, and bending the rules of the universe to your will. And we have solo creation. Only escape artists can spin up Flux Destinies, though they can take input from other specialty types, using their deep connection to the Great Machine and their mastery of karmistry. Then Clockbot assistants. Clockbots play a vital role in supporting the creation and maintenance of these Flux Destinies. They help stabilize and enhance the creations, making sure they function smoothly and safely. And why this matters? This ability isn't just a flashy trick, it's a core part of your role in Flux Fantasy. Creating Flux Destinies allows for unparalleled strategic advantages, creative problem-solving, and immersive storytelling.
Yep.
And go ahead.
There's definitely a lot that Flux Destinies do. It's the reason that part of the intro package for escape artists includes a fishbowl, which we'll get into what a fishbowl is here in a second. Here are some reasons. Here are some more in-depth reasons as to why Flux Destinies matter. Strategic depth. Use your Flux Destinies to gain tactical advantages in battle, hide from enemies, or set traps. You've got creative freedom. Let your imagination run wild. Create intricate environments, elaborate puzzles, or even living creatures to aid your journey. And there's narrative power. Flux Destinies can drive the plot forward, creating unique scenarios and challenges that enrich the story. So if you're an escape artist, embrace your role as the master of Flux Destinies. And for you Clockbots, remember, your support is crucial in bringing these incredible worlds to life. Let's get ready to build some amazing Flux Destinies. Now, Flux Destinies, just for people who may not understand it, they are artificial worlds created almost entirely from karmistry on a material that creates a world that is kind of a bubble world outside of normal karma. Something Chris explained to me when I was talking to him about Flux Destiny and Flux Fantasy at one point, is that inside a Flux Destiny, there's no payback buildup because you're separate from the Great Machine. So there's no payback buildup with your karmistry.
In that regard, I suppose one could liken Flux Destinies to things like reality marbles in the Nasu-verse, or domain expansion in Jujutsu Kaisen.
Maybe, and we're gonna learn more about them as a mechanical component in the game here, as we get into things like terminology for escape artists. Talking about Flux Destinies. When diving into the world of Flux Destinies, you'll want to get the lingo down to keep things smooth and immersive. Here are some key terms and phrases you'll be using. Spin up a Flux Destiny. When you're bringing a new Flux Destiny in existence, you'll say you're spinning up a Flux Destiny. This term captures the energy and motion of creating these pocket realities from scratch. Collapse. When a Flux Destiny is deactivated or comes to an end, you simply say it has collapsed. The term conveys the sudden end of the intricate balance within the Flux Destiny. Gearboxes. At the heart of every Flux Destiny is a gearbox. This is the engine that keeps everything running smoothly, managing the various elements and ensuring harmony. Think of it as the control center of your pocket reality. And dream seams. These are the boundaries where the real world and your Flux Destinies meet. They often appear as shimmering lines and emphasize the mystical essence of your creations. Despite the advanced karmistry, there's always an otherworldly vibe within Flux Destinies. For more on Flux Destiny related terms, check out the lore Flux Destiny sections in this core rulebook. Master these terms and you'll be spinning up Flux Destinies and navigating their complexities like a pro. Now, we have the materials for Flux Destiny. For Flux Destiny creation, specifically. In the world of Flux Destiny, creating Flux Destinies isn't just about skill, it's about having the right gear. Enter fishbowls and canvases. These aren't just materials, they're your gateway to crafting your own pocket dimensions, blending ancient karmistry with cutting-edge innovation. Fishbowls are the novice's first step, and fishbowls are where every escape artist starts. Think of them as your training wheels, a safe space to test your karmistry skills without causing a cosmic meltdown. These small crystal containers are perfect for beginners, offering a controlled environment for creating minor Flux Destinies, and for housing and transporting designer creatures and plants made from karmistry. They are part of your starting equipment. Every player kicks off their adventure with a standard fishbowl. It's your first tool for practicing and experimenting with Karma Street. And there are limitations. While great for learning, fishbowls have a limited capacity. They're perfect for small-scale creations, but won't cut it for large, more complex realms. And then I'll leave the rest of that to you, Monk.
Yep. So then we have canvases, stepping up your creative game. Once you've mastered the basics, it's time to level up to canvases. These specialized fabrics, infused with rare crystals, can hold entire Flux Destinies. From handcrafted canvases, from tranquility to modern, affordable alternatives, these tools let you dream big. So then we have material origins. Canvases are made from rare materials and mostly sourced from the peaceful nation of Tranquility. Their scarcity and the intricate process of weaving them make them pricier. And versatility and risk. Canvases come in various sizes and grades, offering more freedom but also more risk. A poorly made or damaged canvas can cause a Flux Destiny to collapse, leading to potential chaos. And the acquisition and use, starting with cost and availability. You can buy fishbowls and canvases, which prices varying based on size, quality, and karma allocation. There's something for every escape artist, no matter your level or budget. Then, karma allocation requirements. The karma needed to activate and maintain a Flux Destiny depends on the complexity of the canvas or fishbowl. Managing this is key to your strategic planning and resource management. Then, starting your adventure. With a fishbowl in hand, you're ready to begin your journey in Flux Fantasy. As you progress, you'll explore the vast potential of canvases, pushing the boundaries of your karmistry skills. For detailed info on sizes, karma requirements, and costs, check out the table provided in other items and shops. Let your imagination run wild and see where your skills take you. Then, creating your Flux Destiny. Unleash your imagination. In Flux Fantasy, crafting a Flux Destiny is where your creativity meets strategy. This section walks you through the process, from initial concept to maintaining your creation. It's all about making your imaginative visions tangible within the game, using a mix of karmistry specializations and careful karma management. Whether it's a tranquil hideaway or a dynamic battlefield, you'll learn how to effectively spin up and sustain your own Flux Destiny with your party. So first we have conceptualization. Start by envisioning what the Flux Destiny will be. Determine its scale, ranging from the intimacy of a fishbowl to the expansiveness of a canvas, theme, and primary features. This stage is crucial for laying down the vision of the world you wish to create. Then collaborate with your party. This is a team effort. Discuss and unify your visions to ensure the Flux Destiny reflects the collective imagination and utilizes the diverse karmatry specializations within the group. And then we have selecting the medium, and I'll let you take it from there.
Okay. Choose between using a canvas or fishbowl based on the envisioned scale and complexity of your Flux Destiny. Canvases cater to grander visions requiring substantial karma investment, while fishbowls are perfect for smaller personal creations. And there's an impact of the medium you use. It impacts not just the creation process, but also how the Flux Destiny is maintained and expanded upon. Then we have gathering karma. Creating and maintaining a Flux Destiny requires karma, a resource that players must constantly manage. Karma acts as the lifeblood of Flux Destinies, dictating their stability and longevity. And so first you accumulate karma. You gather the necessary karma for your project. This can be done through various activities within the game, from completing quests to engaging in karma-based challenges. The amount of karma needed directly relates to the ambition of your Flux Destiny. This also ties into the positive-negative karma that we talked about much earlier when we originally looked at a lot of how to play. Some Flux Destinies are going to need one or the other, or maybe both. Pooling resources. Escape artists and clockbots can pool karma, combining their resources for larger or more complex destinies. And then spinning up a Flux Destiny, mechanics and outcome. Creating a Flux Destiny in Flux Fantasy represents a pinnacle of teamwork and creativity, allowing players to conjure worlds limited only by their collective imagination and karma allocation. The following is a step-by-step process for how to spin up your own Flux Destinies. Once you have the karma allocation, the amount of karma allocated to spin up Flux Destiny is determined by the chosen canvas or fishbowl's size and quality. This ensures a diversity in the types of worlds that can be created, from simple, small-scale environments to expansive, complex ecosystems. Higher quality canvases allow for a large number of a larger number of escape artists to collaborate, increasing the potential scope and intricacy of the Flux Destiny. Then you have the threshold success check. If it's a single player, roll a d20, adding your willpower talent modifier. And if it's a party effort, each member rolls a d20, adding their willpower talent modifier. The highest roll among them represents the collective effort. And then the outcome, success is a roll that is greater than or equal to the threshold number. Mm-hmm. The Flux Destiny comes to life with the target number reflecting its intended complexity. Failure is a roll less than the threshold number. The attempt does not succeed, leading to the loss of allocated karma. This event can fuel future quests or character development. A critical success on a nat 20. The Flux Destiny is created successfully, and the karma required for its first maintenance cycle is halved due to serendipitous cosmic favor. And then the critical failure on a natural 1. A significant payback backlash occurs. For the consequences, refer to how to play payback section in the core rulebook. The severity is influenced by the allocated karma to the entire party and at the GM's discretion. I'll also go through the thresholds and stuff, and then you can take up at spinning up Flux Destinies together. Mm-hmm. So for the spin-up thresholds on fish bowls, for a small fish bowl, it's 9 KP, and for a large, it's 12. For canvases, starting at small and going to extra large, there are four sizes: small, medium, large, extra large. Goes 14 karma pool, 15 karma pool, 17 karma pool, and 20 karma pool, respectively. A spin up karma cost for a fishbowl is in it. Okay, I think the KPs at the end of those thresholds are an accident, because those are thresholds. Those are dice roll thresholds, not karma point expenditure. Mm-hmm. So side note, Chris and Ella, under spin up thresholds in the Flux Destiny section of how to, you have KP next to the threshold numbers. You may want to take that out because that will be slightly confusing. Because the next section is spin up karma costs, which tells you how much karma you're spending.
Mm-hmm. I was about to say, because otherwise spending 20 KP on an extra large canvas seems a bit small.
Yeah, and it's all. I'm guessing it's just a copy over error. Mm-hmm. Again, beta. This is a beta document, people. Beta document. But the spin-up costs for fish bowls. First, there is a note that says that they do not require karma pools to continue to maintain it. And to spin up a small fishbowl costs 15 karma pool. A large is 30 karma pool. And then on canvases, starting with small and going through medium, large, extra large, 40, 80, 100, and 150 karma pool, respectively.
So then we have spinning up Flux Destinies together. Okay. In Flux Fantasy, spinning up Flux Destinies is all about teamwork. Each escape artist, with their unique karmistry specialization, brings something vital to the table. The coolest Flux Destinies come from a mashup of creative, clockwork, bio, machine, and quantum karmistry skills. While other specialties can't spin up Flux Destinies, they can contribute ideas to their escape artist counterparts, helping shape these epic realms with their creativity and suggestions. So then we have the power of collective expertise. The real magic happens when different skills collide. Imagine a clockwork karmistry whiz setting the laws of physics while a biokarmistry genius breathes life into plants and creatures. Together, they create a world that's way more intricate and alive than anything they could pull off solo. It's a testament to how unity and diverse skills can craft something truly epic. And we have experimentation and team compositions. Flux Fantasy is all about mixing it up. Blend different karmistry specializations and see what new, crazy possibilities you can unlock. Spinning up Flux Destinies is your playground for innovation. Your team's combined knowledge and skills shape these pocket dimensions, turning them into test beds for the wildest ideas. By promoting teamwork, the game shows that the most epic achievements come from shared visions and effort. Collaborating to spin up Flux Destinies gives you a rich playground for exploration, where the only limit is how far you can push your imagination. And then we have maintenance and expansion, keeping it alive and kicking. And since I only covered a column on that last page, I'll cover this for a bit.
Okay.
So
there might be some skimming that can be done too.
Yeah. So you spun up your Flux Destiny and it's a masterpiece. But don't get too comfy. Keeping that baby running needs some regular TLC in the form of karma. Just like your favorite RPG character needs HP, your Flux Destiny thrives on a steady diet of karma. Make sure you're regularly feeding it to keep it from collapsing. Check out the Karma Recharge Cycle section for the details on how to keep that karma flowing. As your journey in Flux Fantasy unfolds, you'll probably want to tweak or expand your Flux Destiny. Maybe that cozy hideaway needs a new wing, or your epic battlefield could use some extra traps. To make these upgrades, you'll need more karma, bigger canvases, and a fresh burst of creative energy. It's all about adapting your world to fit your evolving narrative and gameplay needs. By mastering the art of conceptualization, medium selection, karma gathering, and teamwork, you can build Flux Destinies that aren't just immersive but downright unforgettable. Keep an eye on your karma levels and be ready to evolve your decisions as your story takes new twists and turns. And keep the karma flowing, recharge mechanics for Flux Destinies. In Flux Fantasy, your Flux Destinies aren't just flashy displays of your escape artist skills. They're living, breathing worlds that need regular karma infusions to stay afloat. Keeping these pocket dimensions stable is crucial, and that means knowing the ins and outs of karma recharge mechanics. Ready to keep your creation thriving? Let's dive in. So we have first a unified recharge cycle. So at set intervals, usually every 20 minutes, though this can be adjusted by the GM, your Flux Destiny hits a low karma point. This is your cue to pump in some fresh karma. By syncing the recharge times, everyone stays on the same page and keeps the game moving smoothly. Then we have the karma cost and strategic decisions. Recharging your Flux Destiny isn't free. The karma cost depends on how big and fancy your creation is. Here's where strategy comes into play. You've got to decide how to divvy up your karma, sustain your Flux Destiny, fuel other karmistry actions, or save some for emergencies. It's all about making smart choices. So this is where we get the 4 sizes thing. Small ones are low cost, easy to maintain, limited in scope. Medium are moderate karma cost, perfect for players with a steady karma supply. Large are high karma cost, challenging you to manage your resources wisely. And extra large are the ultimate challenge. These behemoths need tons of karma just to stay active, only the bold need apply. Then we have the consequences of neglect. If you ignore the karma needs of your Flux Destiny, it's game over for that pocket world. A neglected Flux Destiny collapses, taking everything and everyone inside with it. This high-stakes consequence underscores the importance of diligent Flux Destiny management. Make sure you're keeping an eye on those karma levels. And
interesting.
It then goes into integrating karma recharge into gameplay, basically keeping players in the loop. I'd say checkpoints are going to be key for that. Then pumping up the karma for maintaining it. So you've spun up an epic Flux Destiny, but keeping it alive is where the real challenge starts. Without a proper government-sanctioned karma siphon, and the dedicated worker that comes with it, you're on your own to keep that Flux Destiny from collapsing. Time to roll up your sleeves and pump in some karma. First, keep the clock ticking. Your GM will set a timer for every 20 minutes. When it goes off, it's karma boosting time. If you can't cough up the required karma, your Flux Destiny will start to crumble. No pressure, right? Then, sustaining karma roll. To keep your Flux Destiny humming, you need to sacrifice your own karma. Every 20 minutes, you'll have to feed 25% of the initial spin-up cost back into the gearbox. No fancy rolls here, just a straight-up karma sacrifice. Then the rules of sustaining. Stay close. Players must be within 4 squares of the gearbox to pump in karma. Gearbox location is your choice. Then team effort. If 2 or more players are adding karma, they must do it simultaneously. This counts as a main action and will take up your next turn. And forfeit your turn. At the timer's sound, any player, all specialties, can add karma by forfeiting their next turn. Then no extra karma. You can only add exactly 25% of the spin-up karma at a time unless otherwise noted. No topping it off. Then consequences of failure, basically fail to sustain it, and it starts collapsing.
Yep.
And then we get to Flux Destiny Meltdown, and I will give that one over to you.
Yep. Uh-oh, your Flux Destiny is on the verge of collapsing. Now it's decision time. Do you make a run for it or try to stabilize this ticking time bomb? Whatever you decide, your whole crew needs to be on the same page. It's all in or all out. You have bailing out, the great escape. When a Flux Destiny starts to crumble, it doesn't just vanish in a blink. The size of your pocket dimension determines how long you have to get out. To escape, everyone must make it past the dream seam, the boundary of the Flux Destiny. Miss the deadline, and it's game over. Your character's toast. A small Flux Destiny crumbles in 3 turns, a medium in 5, a large in 7, and an extra large in 10. Then we have Stabilize, playing hero. Stabilizing a Flux Destiny isn't for the faint of heart. You can only try to stabilize it 3 times before it's beyond saving. Succeed and your world's back to normal with the karma timer reset. Fail and it's curtains for everyone inside. We have a how to stabilize. You got the positive karma boost. Every player rolls for willpower. Extra rolls for escape artists and clock bots. They roll twice and take the higher. The team effort. Escape artists and clock bots can share their second roll with another player. The majority wins. At least half the players need to pass their willpower roll. And for a heroic save, a natural 20 counts as a success for 2 players. And then there's, of course, a GM tip here. Encouraging each other and sharing stats can earn positive karma alignment points, which we've talked about in a previous episode.
Mm-hmm.
The collapse threshold is a 10. You have a 50-50 shot at stopping the collapse. Let's hope fate is on your side. Whether you're making a mad dash for the exit or trying to hold your world together, remember, it's a team effort. Make your choice, roll those dice, and may the odds be in your favor. And then you have other Flux Destiny rules. Extra large Flux Destiny will level up. Creating an extra large Flux Destiny is a game changer. The moment you pull off this monumental feat, it's checkpoint time, and everyone involved gets to level up. It's like hitting a cosmic power-up. This can only happen once per game. Size matters, the magic of dimensional expansion. Flux Destinies can be sneaky. On the outside, they might look like a simple box, but step inside and you're in a whole new world thanks to dimensional expansion. This high-level karmistry trick lets skilled escape artists stretch the inside space way beyond the exterior boundaries. It's bigger on the inside, Monk. But like everything with great power, it comes with serious risks. Mess up, and you're looking at skyrocketing karma costs, relentless maintenance, and the ever-looming threat of payback if your canvas starts to leak. We have illusions and boundaries. Flux Destinies often use elaborate backdrops and illusions to seem larger than life. But don't be fooled. In a small Flux Destiny, you'll eventually hit an invisible wall at the canvas's edge. If you want to pull off that trick where it's bigger on the inside, you'll need to invest an extra 10% of the starting karma cost. And so canvas sizes, the outside is 5x5 squares and the inside is up to 7x7. Medium is 10x10 up to 15x15. Large is 20x20 up to 30x30, and extra large is 50x50 up to 60x60. Whether you're expanding your pocket world or just adding a touch of magic, remember to keep an eye on that karma meter and watch out for any leaks. It's all part of the high-stakes art of creating your own Flux Destiny. And then the risks of wild Flux Destiny creation, I will leave to you, Monk.
Yep. So you're thinking about spinning up a Flux Destiny without the safe confines of a canvas or fishbowl. It's bold, daring, and it's incredibly risky. Here's what happens when you decide to go off the beaten path and spin up a Flux Destiny right in the wild of Fortuna. 1. Payback's coming for you. Creating anything significant with karmistry is like sending a flare into the cosmos. Payback is inevitable, but when you're crafting without a container, that flare turns into a beacon. Payback doesn't just knock, it kicks down the door. We're talking everything from personal misfortunes to calamities that can ripple across your storyline. And then collapse is a heartbreak away. Imagine pouring your heart into creating a world only for it to blink out of existence. Uncontained Flux Destinies are ticking time bombs. Without the structural integrity provided by a canvas or fishbowl, these worlds can collapse, taking down anything and anyone inside. It's not just about losing a piece of the game, it's about the void it leaves behind. And then why it's tempting but treacherous. Going rogue with Flux Destiny creation might feel like the ultimate display of power, a test of your mettle against the universe's rules. And sure, there's a thrill in challenging the cosmos, in pushing the boundaries of what's possible with Karma Street. But here's the catch. The universe has its laws for a reason. Canvases and fishbowls aren't just guidelines, they're lifelines. They protect your creations from spiraling into chaos and keep payback from turning your vision into a nightmare. True creativity in Flux Destiny isn't about ignoring the rules, but mastering them. It's about finding the courage to explore within the lines, to see how far you can stretch your imagination without breaking the world. And hey, if your character's arc is about defying these norms, about being the wild card who dances on the edge, more power to you. Just remember, the house always wins. And in Flux Fantasy, the house is the universe itself. So go ahead.
Here!
Go ahead, dream big and create bigger, but maybe keep a canvas handy just in case.
Remember, a good gambler always has an ace up their sleeve and 2 guns in their holsters.
Mm-hmm.
But with that, we move on to the highs and lows of spinning up Flux Destinies. It basically talks about the pros and cons. And we don't really need to get into them because they've been detailed already. At least most of them. First of all, we know that, it's a resource hog. It takes up not only lots of karma, but lots of actual physical items. There's a section here that says, keep it real. Narratively speaking, your Flux Destinies should add to the story, not hijack it. Massive complex worlds with no story backing them up, that's a no-go. Using your Flux Destinies to create killer settings for major plot points, tough challenges, or unique problem-solving scenarios that push your characters forward. Yep. Then it's got built-in quirks, this is kind of an expansion upon, hey, the escape artists who build this Flux Destiny can make it different from reality. And also that, every Flux Destiny has an otherworldly quality.
Mm-hmm.
We know that it's a team effort, that you shouldn't try to spin up a Flux Destiny by yourself because of the karma costs and everything else. And then there's a section about keeping it balanced. The limitations are there to keep things balanced. You want Flux Destinies to be a game changer, not a game breaker. Strategize how you're going to use your resources, blend your character skills, and weave your Flux Destinies into the storyline without overpowering the main narrative. By embracing these limitations, you'll find that Flux Destinies add a layer of depth, challenge, and creativity to your Flux Fantasy adventure. They're not just a showcase of your power, but a test of your strategic thinking and teamwork.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, there's a section of here about integrating Flux Destinies into the gameplay and the storytelling. It talks about how they can be used for different things, such as for canvases with some narrative inspiration, secret havens, historical archives, training grounds, personal mementos, basically, or even storage for your fishbowls. Basically, you have a canvas that holds all your fishbowl Flux Destinies. There's also a set about combat and tactical uses, such as battleground preparation, ambushes and traps, or even safe zones.
Mm-hmm.
And then the inspiration for fishbowls, narrative inspiration such as memory orbs, or small gifts and messages, little pocket gardens, a portable carrier for flora and fauna, or even very private, intimate moments. And as for their combat uses, portable hazards, tools to divine things, a crystal ball, almost literally, or even distractions. So there's a nice set of examples here that I don't think we really need to go into detail about, because I think those titles alone are fairly evocative. But for anyone who gets their hands on the book, definitely take a look at them.
Oh yeah.
But with that, we get to aligning Flux Destinies with Fortuna's aesthetic, and I'll leave that to you, Monk.
Yep. First, we have the setting of Fortuna. Fortuna is the vibrant alternate universe USA of the 1990s. This setting is a unique blend of the familiar and the fantastical, blending creating the perfect stage for the extraordinary phenomena of Flux Destinies. Fortuna's 90s vibe offers a mix of nostalgia and innovation, making the magic of Flux Destinies stand out against its relatively grounded backdrop.
This does mean that all of you can create your personal ultimate Flux Destiny, where giant pogs are trying to kill everything. And you hold the slammer.
Then we have maintaining aesthetic harmony. To keep your Flux Destinies in tune with Fortuna's setting, here's what you need to know. First, respect the era. Think of Fortuna as your stage, with Flux Destinies as the captivating main acts. These realms offer an escape and a glimpse of what's possible beyond the mundane, ranging from mystical gardens to futuristic cities and high fantasy castles, your personal sanctuaries. While Fortuna is rooted in a 90s aesthetic, Flux Destinies are where your imagination runs wild. They don't need to reflect a 90s look inside. They're where your creativity takes center stage.
I can already hear all of you recreating the Reboot show, except now it's a Flux Destiny. Reboot was a good show, so you're on the right track.
Yeah. Then we have leverage contrast. Flux Destinies should serve as narrative highlights, offering sharp or dramatic contrasts to everyday life in Fortuna. This strategy creates standout moments and ties into the game's core themes. The familiar setting of modern Fortuna makes the magical moments within Flux Destinies even more impactful. Then team up for consistency. Given the varied karmistry specializations, players are encouraged to collaborate. This ensures Flux Destinies aren't only internally consistent, but also blend well with Fortuna's external world. Team efforts reinforce the game's focus on teamwork and creativity, creating cohesive and captivating experiences that elevate the entire adventure. By weaving Flux Destinies into the fabric of your journey, you enrich your storytelling, deepen character arcs, and invite players into a world where creativity knows no bounds. Embrace the potential of these pocket dimensions to transform your gameplay into an epic saga of discovery and adventure. Then a note on the world beyond. While Fortuna is your main playground in this edition of Flux Fantasy, remember the world of Flux Destiny is vast and teeming with possibilities. Think of designer nations almost entirely composed of Flux Destinies, places where every street, building, and sky is a testament to the power of karmistry. Though these exotic locales aren't playable just yet, characters from your campaign might hail from these diverse and mysterious backgrounds. This hints at the broader world waiting to be explored in future expansions. For now, your epic adventures unfold in Fortuna, a place where the mundane collides with the magical, setting the stage for incredible stories and achievements. Fortuna is also the birthplace of the form of karmistry used throughout the world today, and the home of the mainline book series events. What better place to start? By keeping these guidelines in mind, players can ensure their Flux Destinies enhance the narrative and gameplay of Flux Fantasy. This balance of magic and reality allows both the extraordinary and the everyday to shine, making the overall experience more immersive and thrilling for everyone involved.
Nice.
As a bit of an aside, and I kind of hinted at this early on, but I am very thankful for the fact that Fortuna is an alt 90s instead of another alt 80s, because I think you and I have been drowning in people talking about the 80s with one hand, if you catch my drift.
Yeah. They tend to focus on it as a setting over all other things, which is kind of meh. And also, I missed these comments. Chris did respond saying those KP typos were totally his fault, and then he laughed at me bringing up Pogs.
Although, personally, if I was to go with something that level of ridiculous, I would go with one with. Imagine one of those tech deck skateboards that's the size of an 18-wheeler.
I could see that. No, I think if I were gonna do something ridiculous with a fishbowl, even if it's a large fishbowl, does everybody remember the most hype? The most hype advertisement for the most mid board game ever?
Oh God, Crossfire!
Crossfire! I would set it up as a little crossfire cannon shooting ball bearings the size of small boulders.
When I was talking with the devs for the Return to Dark Tower RPG, him and I had brought up how it seemed like in the 90s a lot of board game companies had this boner for overcomplicated gimmicks. Whether it's something as mundane as the electronic variants of a bunch of Milton Bradley and Hasbro board games, or the Rube Goldberg that was Mousetrap.
I love Mousetrap. That's a great board game.
I love Mousetrap, but I had to establish a pattern of games that were solely built around some fancy-ass gimmick, but outside of that, the game was kind of mid.
Yeah.
Some of them having some more infamy than others. Mousetrap is one of the rare exceptions, but for every Mousetrap you had 5 or 6 electronic battleships, which was just the same fucking game, just with a few noises and lights.
Yep. What's really fun about the Crossfire board game was it started out it started in the 70s. Mm-hmm. But the 90s is the one everybody remembers because of that fucking Milton Bradley commercial.
Yeah. Which I'd imagine had a bigger budget than the actual game. But playing devil's advocate, this was the time when people were on the cocaine train when it came to music videos and when it came to ads. And you had a lot of people who would go on to have very fruitful film careers doing advertisements.
Yeah, I'd like to point out that Crossfire still lives today under Hasbro. Technically. Although it was the Toys R Us exclusive edition, and, Toys R Us doesn't exist anymore.
Oh. Although there was this one indie show where somebody came in as the giraffe.
Yep. I see Chris is having fun with his memories of the Crossfire commercial.
Yeah. But the point, and some might say, do you just have some hate boner for the 80s or something? No, I don't. I think we need to make a point. We love a lot of 80s aesthetical things. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a reason that cyberpunk became so popular. That aesthetic is timeless, even though it is very 80s. Mm-hmm. The issue we have is that people romanticize the 80s at the expense of all other memorable eras of entertainment in the late in the late 20th century. Mm-hmm. Like, so going with the 90s like this, I totally would have it so that when I'm inside my canvas, I have light up fucking sneakers. Nowhere else. I don't need to light up sneakers outside of my Flux Destiny. But in my Flux Destinies, my sneakers light up like a fucking rave party. And you better believe everybody's gonna see me coming. That's not gonna stop me from kicking them in the teeth, but hey. Hey, the one you see coming worked out pretty well for Moon Knight.
Exactly. But like the over-romanticization of the 80s is what we draw issue with, which is why we constantly talk about it, because it is one of the most highly romanticized decades of the late 20th century.
The fact that it's referred to as a state of mind is one of those things that crosses the line for me.
It's telling. There are aesthetics that everybody likes. I mean, the reason steampunk is so popular is because it's an aesthetic built on Victorian aesthetics and adding a little bit more of the steam engine ideals to it. But it's really still those Victorian aesthetics. And so, we like to see other aesthetics being used. And Chris is playing what he knows. 90s Americana.
Yeah. Although I will freely admit that if I were to run something in Fortuna with this kind of aesthetic, I would very much be leaning into a more Midwestern approach on things.
Oh, Jesus.
especially being out in the woods so often, like I was. Or if I really have to, if I really have to twist the knife, I could just load up certain movies and then go, hey, I know where this is in the Twin Cities. 'Cause, good lord, could I get away with that with some movies, especially.
All I can hear in my head is the really bad Midwestern accents from the Fargo movie.
I wouldn't go that far.
You don't want the people to talk like they're from the Midwest now, is it? Which is basically just a bastardization of Irish and Scottish, but we won't get into that.
Yeah, don't even get me started.
Don't get me into how they took the way I talk and made it even jokier there in the Midwest. It's not even funny to me.
Yeah, the Minnesota accent jokes got old real fast. But
don't you know?
But the approach that I would definitely be leaning into is things like, say, the music scene in the Twin Cities, or even
the Flux Destinies in your Fortuna are full of Prince.
Hey, we found Prince. No, fingerprints. I don't think
no
so.
Thanks.
You're not wrong. I mean, I'm pretty sure somebody could make a canvas that's just their that is just their facsimile of the Metrodome.
I can imagine that a lot of escape artist children who have, like, you've seen fans of certain artists and what their rooms looked like in the 90s, Monk.
Mm-hmm.
I can just imagine escape artist children with their small fishbowl using that to create their biggest fan room ever.
Yeah. The childhood equivalent of what is a man cave these days.
Yeah, and like the big thing is, like, as we've seen implicated from the game, Flux Destinies are a part of life. Karmistry in general is a part of life. It's used in every facet. It's become interwoven into every piece of how living works.
Yeah.
And so in so doing, a lot of kids are probably going to play around with Karmistry. It's going to be expected at that point. And I almost guarantee there are going to be escape artist children out there that have set up, like, I'll use a personal example. When I was young, I had a friend, his whole thing was he loved Coca-Cola paraphernalia. When I went over to his house to stay and hang out with him and play video games and stuff, his bunk bed was Coca-Cola. He had shelves upon shelves of, like, model Coke trucks and Coke bottles throughout the era. A lot of red and white in his room. I can imagine him, if in this world, having a fishbowl that is all this Coke era stuff inside, like a transforming Coca-Cola version of Optimus Prime or something.
Yeah, which given some of the cross promotion stuff with branded Optimuses over the years, I wouldn't be shocked if that actually exists. But
yeah, and Chris, Chris essentially confirms here. It goes beyond the whole, you can create really cool traps and stuff in the game. Sure, that's mechanically that's interesting, and narratively that's also interesting. But because it is a large facet of life, Flux Destinies, whether they're the fishbowls for your tiny personal stuff or a canvas for something bigger, like an actual room, they're not going to just be, we set this up for a secret hideout, or we set this up for a battlefield that gives us an advantage. This could be, here's my room of all of my favorite things that I love and didn't want to lose.
Yeah.
Or, this is the boys' club. Girls have cooties. No girls allowed.
And I will note that there's two concepts that we've tackled previously on this channel that Flux Destinies are not that far removed from. and they are shallow abysses and
Yep.
sword labyrinths.
Yep, I can see that. I mean, shallow abyss. We'll be honest here. It's more shallow abysses than sword labyrinths, because sword labyrinths are huge and are like proper dungeons in most cases.
Mm-hmm.
You would probably see, if you're going to say a sword labyrinth would probably be a large or extra large canvas.
Yeah.
Whereas shallow abysses, you could probably even see in a large Karmistry fishbowl, because sometimes they're just small things that hold memories. But yeah, comparison to Sword World is great.
Yeah,
actually.
I will also note, the me drawing inspiration from the Midwest in general and the Twin Cities in particular. A lot of that is stuff that I was already doing in games like Vampire the Masquerade. You know how everybody has the insert city name here by night, which I never got a chance to ask Mark about that, but I firmly believe that was completely intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Especially as a way so that they don't have to actually write a setting book. But because in that same vein, by building it around Americana of a particular era, you know, America is a big place, and I know it would be very tempting to build the styling of it around like 90s Bay Area or something like that. There's a bunch of other neighborhoods and the like that you could build around. And the big reason that I focused on the Twin Cities is that it is not just Minneapolis and St. Paul when it comes to the area that's considered part of the Twin Cities. You've got places like Plymouth, you've got places like Eden Prairie, you've got places like New Hope. You got places like Wayzata, all these different areas that are within a stone's throw of this one part of the state.
Yeah.
And because of that, you've got a bunch of little micro sections that you can build around. And yes, a lot of that is my own familiarities, because I've spent time in multiple of those cities. I'm just not going to tell you which one of the Twin Cities is my favorite, because that could start a fight.
Well, and then, I'm from the 90s PNW. I'm from the 90s Pacific Northwest. And so if I were to draw from the Pacific Northwest 90s stuff, there'd be a lot of biking. There was a ton of cross-country hill biking in the 90s. Even I was part of it. Mountain bikes were a huge thing. And, there's that. We even had skate parks in the woods. So, there'd still be skating. It'd just be heavy-duty skating in certain ways.
Plus,
that sort of 90s Americana in the PNW is huge, along with a huge music scene.
Oh, yeah. And the music scene in the Twin Cities was no slouch, especially after Prince came along in the 80s. And there's still a pretty healthy alternative music scene in the St. Paul area. There's a reason why The Current is still considered required listening for any music nerd in the St. Paul area, especially around University. But let's be honest, there is one thing that I look forward to and dread every year that could easily be a whole campaign in and of itself. And no matter whether it's the 90s or otherwise. And I think you know exactly what event I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The Great Minnesota Sweat Together, also known as the Minnesota State Fair. Which, the only state that has a bigger state fair is Texas.
Yep.
Because everything has to be bigger in Texas. Even though
Also,
Texas hasn't been the largest state in the Union since the 50s. But with the Minnesota State Fair, it is fucking massive. It is a city unto itself when that thing opens up. And it goes on for the better part of a month. Um, Second place is something like the Winter Carnival, which is the only carnival I can think of that was created out of spite. Yeah, the Winter Carnival got started in the late 19th century because some New York columnist couldn't handle Minnesota winter.
Mm-hmm.
And since it has its own royal family, if that's not creative fodder, then I don't know what is. But I would say the only thing that I would add on that front is possibly in the, and maybe this is in the book right now and we just haven't caught it yet, putting in some example Flux Destinies of different sizes. Because yes, the size differentiator was present in this section, but I think it's going to be very important to nail down what the dividing line between a fishbowl and a canvas is size-wise, as well as just showing it in action, because this is a blank check.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying it has to be like a full page's worth of example, but just like a paragraph.
Yeah. As we always say, we want to know or as I always say it, I want to know the upper and lower bounds.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I could liken based on the description, I could liken a fishbowl to, say, the holodeck in I think they first started using it in TNG8. I don't think there was ever a holodeck in TOS. And I'm referring to the holodeck as everybody knows it, not as the original version where it was just this big black room in a grid that just conjured up images. And I was kind of avoiding it, but I suppose on some level one could make some allusions to Inception when it comes to these sort of things. Especially if you have the idea of a canvas that has fishbowls inside of it. You know, a world inside a world inside a world.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd cost a shitload of karma to do that, but in theory, someone could do it.
Well, the big thing is that I think in theory, because you could at least avoid the payback, a fishbowl inside a fishbowl and inside a fishbowl would be interesting. I don't know if that's actually something that can happen. Maybe that's something Chris could address at some point.
Mm-hmm. But that is a story for another week. So now with all of that said, I believe next week we have essentially the last major things, as well as giving our final thoughts on Flux Fantasy.
Yep.
And of course, even with that, there's still going to be a few surprises coming. Tomorrow will be the return of the Cloister of the Dice. Instead of covering the one shot we planned on last week, it's back to business as usual. We're going back to the world of Robotech. But I will be having a couple interviews before and afterwards. Before it, if things go as planned, I'll be interviewing Kenneth Hitt on the in development second edition for Trail of Cthulhu, and afterwards I'll be interviewing the developer of the Reaver Sword and Sorcery game. And of course, on Sunday I will not be doing Geek Watch. We'll be doing Mecha Simultactics. And if I can't get that to work, then I'll probably end up setting up Hawken, because that's come back. Who had that on their bingo card?
The only person rolling their dice or raising their hand is me.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else raising your hand, put your hand down, you fucking liars. And of course, all that and more is gonna be on the horizon. Especially one really big surprise that even now I'm still shocked we managed to get pulled off.
I'm actually going to be typing in there at some point in the near future to see what's up, see if we need to do any preparation, see if we need to pull in our surprise guest.
Yeah,
talk to him.
Now, when you guys see the schedule, you will likely see what the guest is going to be. But it's still a big damn deal for us.
Yep, it's a very big damn deal, and well, we hope you'll enjoy it as much as we will.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.
Oh